Now what I'll do is get me a piece of clear plastic and lay it over that and make me a template, cut it out for the other side. Put a dot in my template here, just this little black dot here, and that dot is there's a spring in here that's got a little pin in it, and it's the same on both sides. So that's a reference point, and I've got a corner that back here where the receiver and this plate and this wood all come together. There's a little corner. You take a really small flat-ended punch like that, and you put pressure on that plate from this side. You don't want to mess up your threads, but you can push and put pressure on that plate. Kind of wiggle it with the hammer and push that plate out of there. If they are put in there well, it'll pretty much take some pressure to get it out. It really needs to be sealed in there pretty nicely. So I've chiseled this down to where it really touches that nicely. And then I'm going to take all the metal off of it, and I'm going to sand this down with this 120 grit straight block. And then I'll draw my outline on there after it's nice and surfaced, and then I can do my carving. It's too hard to carve it first and then sand that smooth. It's a whole lot easier to sand it smooth with all of that bearing surface to work with. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's what you got to do with it. Alright, I got all my carving, my hand fitting with the chisel done that I can do on both sides, top and bottom. It's functional, it cocks, it fires. I'll take all the metal off and do some finish sanding where my surfaces meet. Metal meets wood, and then I'll start shaping the rest of it. Once this is done, I can hold on to this with a vise and start shaping the rest of it from there back. Now these pieces haven't been cleaned yet. I'll put them over here in the kerosene and take a toothbrush to them. After I get done with all my smoking and waxing and all that, I clean them. See, that's been cleaned. Now's where I'm going to start referring to this pattern stock as far as the shape, the top of this wrist, and the thickness of it in here, and on and on. I'm going to refer to this a lot, so I'm going to keep it right here handy. I'm going to put it on this towel where it's safe and doesn't get skinned up. I'm going to be focusing right now on the top of this, which is the top of this one. And as far as the shape of this, where the comb comes down to a point, and all of these, all the nuances of this stock. At its thinnest place, my pattern stock here is that thick. I've got, my goodness, nearly a 1/4 inch on both sides to go thinner than that. Normally I get this right before I start this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this wrist undone and leave it thick for strength while I flip it around and hold it from the front and rasp on the back, because I put a lot of cranking power pushing on this back, and I don't want to crack this thing right here in the wrist. I just don't want to do that. Not today. So I'm going to get a little closer, just a little closer. Just work down these fine edges on the very front, but I'm going to leave this wrist thick.